bow staff training video, we're going to go over essential bow staff techniques, step-by-step training for beginners. I want you to start with the staff in either hand. You're going to hold it right in the middle of the staff so that it balances evenly on your hand. You're going to close your hand gently. You're not going to squeeze too hard, but you're going to keep it closed enough that it doesn't fall out. You're going to turn it from side to side to start to warm up the wrists, the forearm, the upper arm, your shoulder. You need to warm up properly so you can stay safe from injury during this essential bow staff training step-by-step guide for beginners. You're going to do this for about 30 seconds, going slow at first if you have a heavy staff. My staff is very heavy. This is a self-defense staff. It's 6 feet long or 72 inches. There's a link in the description if you want to see the actual features of the staff. But you can start with something much lighter. There's another link. It says get your martial arts weapons or whatever in the description. They have much lighter staffs at that link. But this is the self-defense staff. This is the one that you're going to use to defend yourself. And because it's a self-defense staff, it's very heavy. It's made out of hickory. And so you go slowly when it's heavy. If it's light, you can go fast. Then after you do 30 seconds with one hand, put it in the other hand. Again, find the center. And then you're just going to turn it from side to side. Get in the habit of keeping the other hand up. As far as footing, during this warm-up, just keep your feet under you. Don't overthink it. Hello, Elite. It's good to see you. Good afternoon. Going side to side, slow as smooth, smooth as fast is going to be your mantra as you go through this essential bow staff training guide, step by step for beginners. Nice and easy. After 30 seconds here, as you turn it up, you're going to bring your other hand next to it. So pinky to pinky, palms face the sky, turn it out, bring it in, going out. Hello, Matthew. Dennis, Donnelly's here from South Africa. Good to see you, Dennis. Leaders in Europe. Matthew, where are you? Going side to side. We're all here in the virtual dojo together. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Take your time, allowing the staff, the weight of the staff to pull your wrist into a stretch. And also by stopping here and turning it back the other way, you're going to fire the muscles in your forearm. You're going to get heavier, stronger forearms. Hello, Michael. It's good to see you. Matthew's here in the United States. Side to side, getting stronger as you go through this essential beginner's guide to bow staff, step-by-step training in your garage dojo or your backyard, your house, your home, or your martial arts school. You can do this anywhere. After you do that, for 30 seconds, I'm going to have you take it to the side and do that same warm-up spin. So you're going to continue to get stronger forearms, a stronger grip. You're also going to start to fire the muscles in your shoulder, especially the back of your shoulder. You get healthy, strong shoulders doing this. Do that for 30 seconds. Put it in your other hand. Extend it all the way out from your body. Just a simple turning motion. After you've done that for 30 seconds, you're going to go over your head, make sure there's nothing you're going to hit. I've got to watch that thing over my head. Back up a little bit. And just turning it from side to side. This is really going to activate the muscles in the back of your shoulder, building strong, powerful, healthy shoulders. Also giving you a lot more skill. When you start to go above your head, put it in the other hand, same thing. You get a new plane of motion with your bow as you're going through your essential beginner's guide to bow staff. We want to operate in every plane of motion possible. In front of the body, behind the body, going through the center line of the body, and then both sides of the body. After you've done this 30 seconds on both sides, you're going to bring the hands together like you did at the beginning when you were going out. But you're going to do that up over your head. Again, just making sure you're not going to whack anything up there. Side to slide. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Starting to go faster when you're ready. And you're going to feel this. This will burn your shoulders out if you're just a beginner. you've been doing it for a while, it gets easier. There's always a point where I feel like I've got to take a break. Wears my shoulders out, which is good. That means your shoulders are getting stronger. You're getting better by challenging yourself. You're never going to grow inside your comfort zone. So get out of your comfort zone and you will start to grow. And it's okay if you drop your staff. Every time you drop your staff, simply pick it up. Go back to the first hand where you started, and using your thumb, you're going to carve the sideways figure 8. Also known as the infinity spin, because you're also carving that infinity sign. And there's no beginning and no ending to this spin. Your right hand is forward, your right foot is forward. When your left foot is forward, your left hand will be forward. So whichever hand is holding the staff, you're going to put that foot, same side of the body, forward. And you're making a circle behind you and in front of you. So behind your back. And you're leading with this thumb. This is a forward spin. When we go in reverse, you're going to pull with the thumb. We're going to do that in just a moment. Stomach up and in, abs tight, tuck your chin, get your other hand up. Pay attention to the essential bow staff spinning guide for beginners, step-by-step guide for beginners. Requires that you pay attention to the basics. Master the basics and then you'll be able to do anything. After you've done that for 30 seconds, you bring it over, the other side, pinkies together. Hello, Bill. Bill's here from Las Vegas. Craig, good afternoon. Ethan, good to see you. Ethan asked where you can get one. Ethan, there are 2 links in the description. One link is for the one I'm using here, which is a fighting staff. This is one you can fight with, defend yourself with. It's shorter, little brother. This one is the Joe. This is the bow. This one is 54 inches. This is 72 inches. And both made out of hickory. These are made by a company called Cane Masters. That's the first link. The second link, you can find white ash, rattan, red oak. You can find other styles, other wood bow staffs and Joes, and other size staffs, other martial arts weapons in that second link. But that's all in the description. So again, think about leading with your thumb, carving these circles. Yeah, Alita says the infinity spin is fun to watch. It's a fun, simple, therapeutic. I call this my moving meditation. This is a great way to de-stress, the stress out of your body, simply by spinning a staff. Allow yourself to be mindful. Think about what you're doing while you're doing it. Don't let your mind wander. Keep it on the task. You'll be doing a mindful exercise. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Take your time. Stomach up and in, abs tight, tuck your chin, get your other hand up. Good basic techniques. You're going through the essential beginner's guide to bow staff spinning step-by-step instructions. Super simple. Carving that figure 8. Then you're going to go back to your first hand. I start with my right. If you start with your right, go back to your right, put your right in the middle. You're going to pull with that pinky in a reverse figure 8 spin or a reverse infinity spin, pulling up and to the side, to the back side, to the front side. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. When you're ready, you can turn your hips a little bit faster, turn your shoulders a little bit faster. That'll make your hand turn faster. But think about the weight of your staff. If you have a super heavy staff like I'm using, go slowly until you get stronger. You'll know when it's time to go faster. If you have a light staff like rattan, you can go faster from the start. After you've done that for 30 seconds, switch your feet, switch your hand. The left hand is now in the lead. You're going to pull that pinky, carving your reverse infinity sign or figure 8. Think of a figure 8 on its side. Whoa, try not to hit that thing above my head. I always forget. I get all excited, start moving around too much. But that's all right. As long as you didn't break it, you don't have to stop. That's my theory. Keep going. Might break something, clean it up, pick up your staff, keep going. After 30 seconds there, you're going to go to the side of your body. I'm going to show you here. Back up a little bit so you can see Try to not hit that thing again. I'll go a little bit further. You're going to carve that figure eight. You had your right foot facing me. You were carving to the front and the back. Now you're going to square up your feet to me. You're going to carve to the front and the back. So again, we're going into a new plane of motion. And the purpose here is to learn about spatial awareness, where the staff moves in space and time. And this is also going to activate different muscles in your shoulder and in your body. It's going to force your core muscle. It's going to help you get stronger in your belly. Your postural muscles are getting activated by going to the front and the back of your body. So you're doing this in a different plane. You put it in the other hand. Same thing. Carve your circle to the front and the back. Remember your mantra, slow is smooth. Smooth will become fast. That means the transition between moves gets faster as you get better at it, and that's how you speed up. You don't speed up just simply muscling through and pushing yourself fast. You'll do some of that as you get better, but it's more about becoming efficient in the motion and strong in each part of that motion. Once you've done that, back to your first hand in reverse. Again, pulling with your pinky. I'm going to switch so I can get closer to you. I don't have to worry about whacking the ceiling. So that's a great thing about a Joe. If you go with the Joe staff, a little bit shorter, 48 inches, 50 inches, you can even go to the hardware store, buy yourself a 48-inch dowel rod. It'll be about this long, but you can use that to spin in a small space if you have lower ceilings and you're stuck inside, or if you just want to learn how to defend yourself with a shorter stick that looks like a hiking pole. You're pulling it in, side to side. In that reverse, 30 seconds there. Here's your left hand, stomach up and in, abs tight. Bring it up and over. Take your time. Allow yourself to figure it out and test yourself. A lot of times what I find is that you start to do this and then you'll switch it without even thinking about it. And you think right now you're doing your reverse spin and you're really in a forward spin. So every once in a while stop and remind yourself, okay, pinky, force yourself back. You'll be surprised how many times your mind tricks you and gets you into a forward spin, and the whole time you thought you were doing your reverse spin. Now, after you've done those two different ranges of motion, in the forward and in the reverse, you're going to go back 1 foot forward into your forward spin. So this is your right hand. And when you come across your body to the left side, you're going to take it with your left hand behind the right. Pinky to pinky, palms face the sky. Once it's in your left hand, switching your feet, you put it in your right hand or on the right side, and you take it with the right hand. So you switch over here, switch over here. By starting to step and switch, and you don't have to step. You can do it in place if that's too many moves at once. But if you add the step, you're going to start to get your heart rate up. This is going to become a better exercise. You're going to start to learn how to fight better with your staff. Spinning is not fighting. Spinning is kind of like boxers jumping rope. Switching your feet, though, is going to help you with your footwork for later when you do learn self-defense moves. But you're going side to side. I like to walk forward and walk backward. That gets your speed up a little bit faster. And again, this is faster too because I'm using the shorter staff. But when you're going forward and you're turning your palm up, in the forward spin, the hand transfer always happens on the opposite side of the body. That's the rule if you're writing these down. This is the essential beginner's guide. Bow staff training at home, step-by-step instruction for beginners. You're going forward. Then, when you're ready, you're going to reverse it. And now the transfer happens on the same side. This is your left hand. It's going to take it on the left side. Pinky to pinky, palms facing up. Comes to the right side. So on the right side, you take it with the left hand going across the body. Alita said the butterfly spin helped a lot to reduce elbow pain. I believe that's true. I found that Staff spinning is one of the best therapies for all kinds of tendonitis, shoulder pain, neck pain, posture pain. It forces you to improve your posture because it's activating all of the muscles in your core to keep your body straight. And then also through your shoulders, through your chest, through your upper back. When you add these steps, you start to lean out because you're getting your heart rate up. I'm going to switch back to our bow. I wanted you to see that because the camera is a little bit down, this looks like it's really tall, but it's about as tall as I am. And that's the way you measure the staff. If you're going to have a custom staff, or if you buy a staff, it feels too long, you can cut it down. It's your staff. The way you want to measure it is either a little bit taller or a little bit shorter than the top of your head. When it comes to the bow, the Joe staff comes into your armpit. And that's so that when your elbow is bent in a 90-degree angle, like you're walking, in the park, and you come across a bear, you strike him, or a bad guy, you hit him this way, but it's used in a completely different manner. And so the way it's measured, the Joe staff is about to your elbow. Boom Boom asks, what makes the best bow staff? Mine are hickory. I love hickory. I like white oak over red oak. Red oak is very common because it's very cheap. It comes out of Asia, and they break very easily, in my opinion. In my experience, red oak breaks. I've broken so many red oak staffs. I've never broken a white oak or a hickory staff striking against things. I'm sure I could if I tried hard enough, but I wasn't trying. I just happened to hit the ground. There's some forms, some old kata or pumse that we would do where there's a strike to the ground and then shatter my red oak staff. So I prefer hickory is my favorite one. If you can get the link in the description to the Cane Masters, that's who makes these fighting staffs, self-defense staffs, or walking sticks, I think they call them on their page. But they're nearly indestructible. As long as you keep them well oiled and you use them all the time, they're not going to break. It's my pleasure. It says, thanks for answering. I always try to answer when I can. All right, so we've done hand-to-hand switching, both forward and in the reverse, and to the front of the body. Now we're going to go to some wrist rolls, but before we get there, I want to show you a basic, simple, easy to follow, easy to learn technique. This is essential bow spinning guide for beginners, for anybody, really. Anybody who wants to get really good. If you focus on the basics, you'll always be good. And then all the more advanced stuff just kind of stacks on top of that. Yeah, Donald says he uses ironwood. If this staff were made in ironwood, it would be extremely heavy. So if you do use ironwood, I have ironwood collie sticks that are or screamer sticks about this long. And they're heavier than the staff at this long. So if you do use ironwood, go slow because it's going to be a super, super heavy staff at the beginning, and then you'll get better at it later. Question that Donut Lord has about fighting multiple attackers. We'll talk about that when we do self-defense strikes. You can strike here, hit that guy, smash this guy on his head, stick that in his stomach over here, hit the guy behind you, hit the guy in the front, bring this down on his head, swing around and smack him. It's a very effective tool for self-defense, using this staff or the Joe staff for multiple attackers. Because simply by turning your body, you generate lots of power, and then you have this force multiplier in your hand, which is a 72-inch staff, a 6-foot staff. He could have, he said, multiple attackers have weapons. What if they have this or sticks? Donut Lord says, what if it's 10 people with sticks? Same thing. There was a guy in Chicago last night coming home on one of the trains. A group of 14 teenagers attacked and beat the snot out of him for no reason other than they're thugs with no purpose in life, who weren't parented well, who go to a failing educational system, and our society here in the West has failed them. And they're possessed by demonic thoughts, evil thoughts, and they're beating innocent people. Now, if he had a staff or a walking cane, I don't know that he would have come out of there much better, but I guarantee he could have defended himself much more effectively. And you can take a walking cane onto any train going through any major city anywhere in the world and defend yourself with it. So you could learn these stick fighting with your bow or your Joe, and then you can apply those techniques to a walking cane, and then you'd have very effective self-defense. But if it's 10 attackers, and again, you're simply turning, you're hitting, you're striking, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit by some sticks. But your stick is going to be a lot longer than their stick. All right, we're going to go back to some of the techniques. I wanted to show you coming up over your head. We did this at the beginning of the video. Remember, it's this motion, palm facing in the sky, pinky to pinky, turning out. You're just doing that over your head. And when you come to your right side, you're going to put the stick behind your back, leading with your thumb so that it's perpendicular to the ground, like a tree growing straight up, same as your body. Your other hand, your left hand, is going to come under the right. And you simply pull it out and bring it up over your head. So you're going to turn it, take it, dive it behind your back, bring it up, spin it over your head, spin it behind your back, over your head, behind your back. And then when you're ready, you're going to go the other way. And this is going to strengthen your shoulders like nobody's business. You're going to get really strong shoulders doing this. You're also going to learn spatial awareness because you're going to hit yourself sometime in the back of the head. You're going to hit yourself sometime in your feet, your ankles, or your calves. And when that happens, you're going to learn not to do that again because it hurts, which is fine. It's a good way to learn when you hit yourself. I'm going to switch to the shorter one because of the thing over my head, but I want to show you a little bit closer. Here's the key to not getting hit in the head. Bend your elbow, you're going to hit your head. I don't know if you can hear it knocking through my head, but that hurts. Keep your arms straight. It's not going to hit your head. When you bring it behind your back, don't turn it. If you start turning it as you're going down too fast, you're either going to come back and hit your head here, or you're going to come down and whack yourself in the ankle down here. Instead of spinning it while you're bringing it down, simply bring it down. Then when it gets here, turn it. Spin it while it's down. Take it out. Don't spin it until it gets over your head again, then spin it. Take it out. Spin it. Take it up. Spin it. So it doesn't spin. If you want to stop hitting yourself in the head when you're going, we call this a helicopter. Sometimes you can do the one palm spin, but it's going behind your back, over your head, behind your back, over your head to stop hitting yourself in the head. Don't bend your elbow. Almost everybody bends their elbow at the beginning because they're looking for it. And when you look for it, it's going to bite you. It's going to hit you. Keep your arms straight. Drop it. And again, that change. It's as simple as that. It just goes under, grabs it, pulls it up. When you're ready, turn it back the other way. Go to the other side. Dive it behind your back. Whip it up. Bring it down. Bring it up. Bring it down. Over and over. Super simple. Super basic. And I want you to get that because this is an essential beginner's guide, the bow staff, step-by-step instructions. Overhead, behind the back is one of the easiest things you can learn if you get over the fear that you're going to hit yourself in the head. You're going to hit yourself in the head sometime because you're going to get better, you're going to get faster, and you're going to lose it. It's going to whack your head. You're going to bend your elbow too fast, it's going to hit your head, and it might bring a tear to your eye. You might say, ow, and then keep going. And then stop crying over getting hit in the head by your staff because you did it. And stop whining and crying about it. But you can, at the beginning, allow yourself a little bit of grace. You know, how it hurt. And then get up and keep going because it's not going to kill you. And if you get a little bit of blood, then good. You got some war wounds. You can put the Band-Aid on it or the little glue and then show everybody, hey, I was doing it. Look at the thing. You know, nothing wrong with that. You can bring it over your hand. My point is, don't be afraid to hurt yourself. You're not going to die. There's a difference between an injury and pain. Pain, wham, you hit your elbow. Ow, that hurts. It might hurt for a couple days. You hit your elbow and you break it, and you have to go get a cast or have a doctor cut it open and then put staple or screws in the bone. That's not going to happen. You're not going to injure yourself. You're going to hurt yourself, but you're not going to break anything. You might cut yourself a little bit, but very unlikely you'll need stitches. And if you do, you can learn how to stitch yourself. Learn a new skill. And if you're a kid, don't go start stitching yourself. Talking to the old people. You know that I'm just joking. Thank you, Alita, for that super chat. I really appreciate that. Now, all you're doing here, this is a wrist roll. Your two sides of your hand, thumb side, open your hand, allow it to balance on the back of your hand. And then you're going to turn your hand to catch it. Spin it back the other way, open your hand, bring it over. Question is, should we get involved in a fight to protect ourselves? And apologize to the beginner. So you have questions, that's fine. Always ask your questions. There's no, well, they're dumb questions, but there's no wrong question. Even if it's a dumb question, you learn. Don't be afraid to ask, is my point. Who cares what other people think? If it is a fight over ego, it's your ego at stake, then don't fight. If someone is trying to take away your dignity, like physically harm you or sexually harm you, fight to the death. If it is you don't like somebody, they don't like you, they're picking on you, and you can stay out of there, don't fight. They embarrassed you, don't fight. They touched your child, they touched your wife, your husband, they're trying to harm them, fight to the death. Stop them, do whatever it takes, smash them to the ground. My mentor, Jim Rohn, always said, whatever threatens you, threaten it back. But he wasn't talking about school fights. He wasn't talking about street fights that you could avoid, bar fights, road rage incidents. He was talking about life and death. So the answer is, depends on what the situation is. If you can walk away, walk away. If you can talk yourself out of it, talk yourself out of it. If you can turn the other cheek, turn the other cheek. You turn the other cheek and he starts to smash you in your face and put his hands around your neck and starts to choke the life out of you, then turn your cheek back and do whatever it takes to rip the eyes out of his head, rip the nose off of his face, put your hand through his throat for self-defense. Now, I know this is not an essential bow staff question, but that is the answer. Yeah, Patrick says, someone attacks me, do I attack back? Again, it depends on the situation. Did you start it? Is it some silly beef? Are you a kid and you guys are just arguing over something and you're trying not to be embarrassed because everybody's going to make fun of you that you didn't fight? Then no, don't fight. Is it somebody who's trying to hurt you, who won't stop, and everybody else is egging them on and you have to defend yourself? Then yes, fight back. So you're just going over the front and the back. Now, the purpose of the wrist roll is not just to build, you're going to build wicked, powerful grip. You're going to get a strong punch, a strong block. If you grapple, you wrestle, jiu-jitsu, judo, you're going to get really strong that way. Hapkido. But the purpose is just changing your grip. So you might go from one hand to the other hand, and you might strike here, and then switch and be in this position and thrust and bring it up under the chin and then crack them across the head and then switch feet. Maybe you're hitting these two guys and then you have to turn and strike over here. That's the purpose of the wrist roll. That's allowing you to start to develop that. Now, some people will say never spin in self-defense because you might lose your staff, and that's true. And the way that you would spin, if that were the case, so that your hands never leave contact from your staff, is by sliding one hand across the other so that you're always in contact with your staff. But even then, I wouldn't ever switch. I would hit here, here, strike, strike, strike. You can turn using this split grip and constantly strike. You can also do it with this push-up grip. You can strike here, so both ways work. I prefer this. This is more Okinawan Japanese style. This is more of the Chinese and other martial arts styles also adopt this grip. They're different. One's not right and one's not wrong. They're simply different. When you do martial arts for long enough, you're going to run into so many people that say, That way is wrong. This way is never spin. Never do this. Never do that. Don't listen to that. Understand what they're trying to say. In their experience and in their limited understanding, they would never spin. And you say, okay, I value that and I agree with you. And the reason that I'm spinning has nothing to do with what they're talking about. I'm spinning because I like it, because it's a moving meditation for me, because it develops timing and distance spatial awareness. And I look at it as the same as when I do a boxing workout, I skip rope, jump rope. But when I fight, I'm never going to use a jump rope to fight with. You could, it's a flexible weapon. But the boxer, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, didn't go into fight Jake Paul using a boxing rope, or he's not going to if they ever do fight. He might, he might want to. Jake Paul might want to hide behind his boxing rope and try to whip Mike Tyson so he can get his teeth smashed down his throat. But he's not going to be allowed to bring it in by the ref. You only use it in training. Spinning is for training. Spinning is not for self-defense. Standing your ground, standing behind your staff, thrusts, strikes, angular strikes is for self-defense. But spinning is for fun. Spinning is to develop speed, power, balance, coordination, timing and distance, get your heart rate up, lean your body out, and for demonstrations or for fun. So understand the difference. So going back to our wrist rolls, the way we're going to use them now is going back to your first side, because it's the essential beginner's bow staff spinning guide or bow staff training, step-by-step instructions. You're going to go back to your figure eight. And when you get to the side of your body, you're going to spin it over your wrist in that wrist roll. So you're spinning. When you get to the same side, it goes over the back of your hand, the pinky side. Now, if you're doing the reverse spin, when you get to the same side, it's going to go over your thumb because everything just reverses. So forward spin when you get over here, wrist roll over the pinky side. Reverse hand, when you get over to the same side, wrist roll over the thumb side. Then you can go back to your figure eight, and you can start with a wrist roll here, bring it over, and do a wrist roll here. Now you're doing wrist rolls on both sides of your body. You can also do that when we did the spin to the front and the back of the body. You do a wrist roll to the front and a wrist roll to the back, both forward and reverse. Reverse is going to go over the thumb behind the body and over the pinky in front of the body. So you're doing a wrist roll. You can do hand to hand. You can start to do what we call freestyle or bow flow. And then throw in a wrist roll and a wrist roll. And then go to the front and the back and a wrist roll and a wrist roll. And then whip it behind your back and up over your head and come down and do a wrist roll and a wrist roll. So you're just adding different tricks and different techniques by adding the wrist roll. Now the second part, once you've mastered the wrist roll or you've learned the wrist roll and you're starting to master it, go into finger roll. And the finger roll will start to really build power. Carlos asks, is today all about spins? Yeah, Carlos, we're going to focus mostly on spins. I do, if you go through, I've got almost 2,000 videos now, probably half of them on this channel or with the bow. Probably 80% of those are spins, but there's a good 20% that are on how to use it for self-defense, which are strikes, which have nothing to do with the spins. So after this one, you can go watch that. And then probably later this week, when I do another live, we'll talk about how to use this because it's such an effective self-defense tool, especially against somebody who's got a blade this size or even like a machete, because you can see you have reach advantage. So this is scary on its own. If you don't have anything but your hands to defend against, you still have to defend yourself if you can. If you can run, obviously. If you don't have to be there and deal with a knife. But sometimes you don't have a choice. If you did have a stick of any length and they had a knife, you would put the stick between you and him. The first most basic self-defense move is a thrust. So from here, just a simple thrust. And all you're doing is turning your wrists over. So stand behind your staff, point your thumb at the threat. Simply doing this sticks the stick into your back hand. Now you have two hands on it, you're a lot stronger. From here, as he closes the distance, you close the distance faster, shoving this through his nose, his teeth, his throat. If he has a knife and he's trying to take your life, that's where I'm aiming for. It might kill him, but it's life or death. It's him or you. He gets close enough with that knife and he stabs you. He can stab you one time in a way that they can't get you to the hospital fast enough. You'll bleed out and die. He can stab you right here, hit that femoral nerve or the femoral artery, and then you're done. He can get you in your neck, you're done. He can lacerate your inside. He can gut you before they can get you to the hospital. And so in that case, he pulls out that knife, you're standing behind your staff, you point your thumb, you have that basic thrust. From this thrusting motion, and you can see I'm sticking it right there in his line of sight. So he has to come around my staff to get to me. Then I'm going to pull and push at the same time. I'm pulling, and this comes from, right? That looks like karate. Sorry, I'm going to get off on a real quick tangent. If you practice your reverse punch in karate or taekwondo or hapkido, or whatever you're practicing it in, make sure you're punching the center line. Can't stand watching people. I watch so many karate classes because I don't have a school right now. So I go and I sit outside, or I go in and I sit in the chair next to the parents. And I kind of watch and see what everybody else is teaching. And I've done that for years and years and years. I've seen so many martial arts schools. And this is the most common thing that I see, and no one's ever correcting it. And you're not hitting anything. You're punching the air. You're punching him in the shoulder. You're punching his shirt. Learn how to rotate through your shoulders and your hips. Now, the same thing happens. You thrust, you hit him right in the throat, or you back him up. He comes forward again. There's your reverse punch. You're pulling here and you're punching here, which is an accelerated strike. And this goes through the side of his face or into his temple, maybe knocks him out, remove his ability to be awake for self-defense, into the neck, hit that nerve process. The blood flushes out of his brain. He falls to the ground like a sack of crap. He's trying to hurt you. That's what he is. Or maybe you smash that hand that's coming at you with the knife in it. You smash that. And then from here, backhand at an angle, coming through. Think about striking with the hard edge of your palm. You pull your fingers back. Make your fingers tight. There are 5 bones here in this hard bony structure in the heel of the palm. And bam, smashing him right across the side of his face. But instead, you have this hard piece of hickory coming through here, bringing this up between his legs or up under his chin. Here, down on top of his head, thrusting through again. And you're not spinning. You're not doing fancy footwork. You stand your ground. Man, you smash. D asks, do you always carry a stick? Yeah, D, I do. Let me show you some of the sticks I carry. This is one of the favorite ones. I have one of these in my car. Keep one of these in the backpack. This is the tanbo. This is shorter. It's not as long as this. It's longer than a knife. And you can thrust. You can hold it this way. Jab, smash here, smash down here. Bring it up over his chin, across his face. Back here, hit the guy behind you. Smash him up this way. But it's just a simple stick. This one's oak, 1.25 inches. I make these. Trying to see if I had a shorter one. I can't find it. I carry a 6-inch one, often in my pocket, especially if I'm getting in the train or the plane. You can't carry it. You throw it in the backpack. Someone asks you, it's just a piece of wood. You say it's a massage tool, and it is, but it's also a loaded fist, like holding a quarter. You smash, it's got a point coming out each side. Not sharp, just a little rounded point, and you can do a lot of stuff with that. But the most effective stick that I carry for self-defense is this Cane Masters 36-inch walking cane, which is the same length as a Japanese or Okinawan hanbo. And you can smash this up here. You can bring it down across his face. You can bring it here, bring it here. You can slide it up, use it like a sword coming through or like a collie stick. You can use 2 hands on it. You can smash it through his face. You can use that crook, that big knuckle, smash him here, break the teeth down his throat, reach in, rip stuff off his face for self-defense. And when I hike with my Japanese Joe, this size. Every once in a while, I'll carry one of these if I'm in the woods and I don't think I'm going to run into anybody, because that's just how I am. When I was younger, I carried this all the time. But now I carry this one because it looks more like a hiking pole. Or you can carry a regular hiking stick, like a trekking pole. But because you've trained how to use all these things, you can use these effectively for self-defense. Maybe you have a painter's pole. And this is fiberglass. This is heavy. It's got metal inside. You can extend the length. You can make it taller than your bow. And you can use this as a spear. You can use it as a naginata, the Japanese Okinawan weapon that the soldiers would carry. Or you can use it as a bow staff, like we're training with here. So you can do all the spins for fun. You practice this is all you have, use this. Or you can fight with it, you can defend yourself. So yes, I wouldn't say I always have a stick, but there are always sticks somewhere that you can find. You can go to the gas station, be pumping your gas, and you look over at some gas stations, they have long poles, like at here in the United States, when you go on the road and you stop at a Travel America or you stop at one of those big gas stations that service the trucks, they have their little squeegee for the windows, and they're stuck to a pole about this long, and you can clean your windows with it. You can also defend with it. They have the shorter ones that are hard plastic you can defend yourself with. So there's a lot of options. The point is, learn how to fight with sticks, and then you take them with you wherever you go. Juan Bate says, hello, good to see you. Gabe, nice poll, thank you. Yasser, welcome. Yeah, Jay says a small stick can do damage. You can do a lot of damage. Yeah, Joshua says, speak softly and carry a big stick. Amen to that. This is, again, they don't get much bigger than this one. All right, so we did finger rolls. And the purpose of the finger rolls is to open and close your hand. And that exercises all the tendons and the muscles. And if you spin staff for a long time, you're going to get tendonitis because you're squeezing and holding. If you add finger rolls in, you'll never get tendonitis because you're now exercising your flexors. So you have extensors, or your extensors. You have flexors, which pull. You have extensors, which open or push. And so by spinning, you're exercising your extensors and your flexors in your hand and your forearm, getting very strong. And then later, you can roll it over 3 fingers. So you roll through all 4, grab it with your thumb. And that's almost like a wrist roll because it's balancing on the back, and then you grab it with your thumb. And the purpose of that, going back to your spinning, and you do your figure 8 with your wrist rolls, you can also add in the finger roll. So you're coming here. Maybe you're going, see, how would we do that? Front and the back. It's going to happen in the back. So I'm doing the front and the back. And by doing those 3 fingers, you add kind of like if you're doing your bow flow or you're doing freestyle, this is 1 speed or 1 rhythm. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So you're going from 1 to 1 and 2 on each side, and then you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it doesn't make any sense until you start doing the bow flow, but then you say, oh, okay, that breaks up the monotony. Because if you just do everything at the same speed and the same rhythm, then after a while, the coolness wears off, and you're like, oh, all he's doing is spinning the staff. But then you start to change where you go, behind the back, over the head, the front and the back, and then boom, there's your finger roll. And then you have a new level of technique. Now let's talk about the butterfly spin. The butterfly spin has the wrists together. There's the butterfly spin, and then there's the skip catch. And they're very similar. Butterfly spin, the wrists are always in contact. You can go forward, you can go backward. Top hand turns under until it can't turn anymore. The bottom hand turns to take it. all that is. Top hand gets out of the way. And it has to get out of the way or it won't spin. And then palm to palm. This is why they call it a butterfly. The fingers there. There's the antennae, the head of the butterfly. There are the fingers, or those the fingers. Those are the wings of the butterfly. And then your thumb comes in. Both thumbs are holding. The bottom hand gets out of the way. The top hand turns under. You're simply turning. And then to go the other direction, you need to switch hands so that the other hand is on top. And you always want to, if you go 15 times to the left, you want to go 15 times to the right. If you do 20 things with your right hand, do 20 things with your left hand. The most martial arts weapons are ambidextrous. Both sides are going to be even. And the great thing about martial arts training, traditional martial arts training with weapons, is that your brain will develop more. You get new neural pathways. You'll fire new parts of your brain because you're doing the right hand and left hand evenly. And then you'll pick up a lot more accuracy. I like to do these kinds of sports, and my accuracy is improved every time I spin. And it's just because you're doing cross body stuff and you're firing new. You get brain elasticity, which old people need. Young people need it because it leads to creativity and better problem solving, doing math in your brain faster. Old people need brain elasticity from the spinning across the body and hand-to-hand stuff because it makes you young, keeps you young, keeps you younger. All right, now, so wrist to wrist, butterfly spin. Open your wrists. Skip catch. Some of you have seen that Mike Shake video. There's a lot of those videos where I learned how to do this skill in 2 weeks or whatever it is, which are really fun or cool to watch. Every once in a while you'll see my clips in there when it comes to bow because they're studying online. And that's all that is. You have to remember one hand turns as far as it'll go. That's when the other hand takes it, turns as far as it will go. That's when the other hand takes it. So turn, turn. Now there's one thing you need as a beginner. This is the beginner's guide. Essential bow staff training for beginners. Your hand has to slide up and down. We got the children in the chat. I got to bounce a couple. All right. So as it's coming over, yeah, and Uber user says, I was told how to do that spin in a different way. Absolutely. There's going to be multiple different ways to do, and they'll be called the same thing by different people, and they'll be completely different spins. One's not right, one's not wrong. They're simply different. Jeet Kune Do is not better than Wushu or Ushu. They're two forms of Chinese martial arts that are different. Karate and Taekwondo, which is superior? They're different. What do you want your outcome to be? Boxing or jiu-jitsu? Brazilian jiu-jitsu or Japanese jiu-jitsu? Which one's better? It depends on what you want your outcome to be. They're different. One's not good, one's not bad. They're different. But it's easy if you talk to certain people, they will immediately dismiss all that. Everything else is not good. It's like in Christianity, there are different sects, S-E-C-T. And some, it could be a church of 32 people out in the middle of nowhere, out in the country. And that pastor and those people might believe that everybody else in Christianity is doing it wrong. They're the only ones going to heaven. And there's going to be 32 of them up there. And they firmly believe it. Why? I don't know. I think it's based in fear. Same thing in martial arts. Martial artists, you will find there's one style to counter all styles. Every other style is wrong. Only Bruce Lee's style. Only Ip Man. Only this, only that. Only Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for self-defense. Personally, for self-defense, I like any kind of grappling. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is excellent, so I'd pick that for my kids. And boxing, Western boxing, because it teaches you how to get hit and how not to get hit. Now, I love Aikido, but I would never teach anybody Aikido for self-defense. I wouldn't teach anybody Taekwondo for self-defense. Not anymore. I used to until I understood self-defense. I wouldn't use Krav Maga for self-defense. That's a personal choice. A lot of people would. That doesn't make Krav Maga bad or wrong or me right. Not at all. That's just a personal preference. I prefer boxing techniques, jiu-jitsu techniques or grappling techniques, I prefer all kinds of sticks. And then I prefer the principles of self-defense for self-defense, which is different than martial arts anyway. All right, so you have this spin over and under. And again, you can go in both directions. And one way might be faster than another way. They're just different. Now, two-handed spinning with two hands on it, this is something you're going to run into. The Indian styles, Silambam, Kirapati, I'm sure I'm not saying it right. You'll see them holding it here. They have a much more flexible stick. And it's usually rattan, I think. And they hold it toward the end to create almost like a pendulum swing. And I can't do it in here, or I'd rip the ceiling apart. Two hands here, you might see the Star Wars, what they call it, double-bladed lightsaber. And you'll see two-handed spins like this. And that's a thing. I don't do a lot of two-handed spins because I prefer what I get out of the one-handed spins. But that doesn't make them wrong, it's just a different way to do it. Now, you're only limited by your imagination with what you can do with any kind of stick, especially your bow. But this is just an essential beginner's guide, step-by-step instructions on how to get started so you can have a whole bunch of techniques that will build your speed, strength, power, self-defensibility, but mostly spinning just for fun and fitness that will make you better at fighting for self-defense. But this is just a starting point. Seek out more with an open mind. Don't close your mind and believe that there's only one right way to do anything. There's many, many ways. All right. Yeah, Daniel says, they say a true swordsman, anything in their sword or their hands is a sword. And that's the truth. One of the videos we're going to do later this week, probably later today, I'm going to roll up a magazine and show you how to defend yourself using a tight magazine, because you might not have a stick, but you have a stack of papers or you have a magazine. He's got a knife. You don't have any choice. You're stuck. You got to defend yourself. You don't want to go hand to knife. You can go improvised stick. When you roll up that magazine, it becomes a stick. It's all a bunch of beads of papers made out of wood. Put the stick back together, reconstitute it, and you can defend yourself. Anyway, you guys have been great. Alita, thank you again for that super chat. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't, or a thumbs down. Either way is fine with me. Put in the comments section if you have experience with the staff, what kind of staff you use. Is it wood? Is it metal? What kind of wood? And start this conversation in the virtual dojo